Connie Richards is a polyglot that I really respect with what he says. Like when he talks about a method, I usually go and follow it and see if it can fit in my language learning and if it can fit my personality for me to learn using that method. Hello, welcome to Swahili Kingdom. My name is Connie. I speak 6 languages, and today I'm here to advise you on some experiences that I have gone through in learning languages, my own experience, my experience from other people, and so forth. So in today's video, you are going to know, by the end of this video, after you watch this video till the end, you are going to know the most important parts of learning a language so that you can focus on them. And then as we will be approaching the end, I'm going to show you the important parts to learn for every specific level. You have the beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But as the European setting of the language levels, you have A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. C2 is the highest, A1 is the lowest. So that is what you're going to know in this video. So if you are beginning to learn any language, or you are continuing to learn any language and you don't know where to start, I was once there, you don't know where to focus, this video is for you to get that. Okay? Now, let's start. So when I started learning languages, I started with Filipino, then I went to Spanish. When I started learning languages, I went on Google. At that time, I think we didn't have ChatGPT, or maybe it was there, but I had not heard about it. I was still in college, or I was still in college, university. Yeah. So when I started, I went on Google and I asked Google, how do you start language learning, and what should you focus on in language learning? And Google told me you start by memorizing words, the top 1,000 words in that language. I believe you have heard of that as well in you learning a language. Maybe a YouTuber has told you, or a teacher, or even Google, ChatGPT, wherever you have heard it from. So that is the same advice that I got. That is 4 years ago, 5 years ago actually. This is the 5th year. Yeah. So let's say 4 years ago. Next year we are going to say 5 years ago, right? So that is the advice that I got. Imagine if that's the advice I got 4 years ago, and it's the same advice that you are getting right now. And remember, they say that we are in the information age. Things are changing rapidly because information is all over. The more you get focused information, the more you're going to improve your life. Because anyone right now can get information, it's all over. Like I was talking to my student recently, I think 2 days ago, I was talking to my student and I told, let me not mention if it's a him or a her, let me use him. I told him, I asked him, what's the most challenge that you have faced in learning Swahili? And one of the things he mentioned was a load of information. So he said, when he was learning Swahili, like he could get information from all over. Information from internet, YouTubers, and you couldn't know if that person who is giving out that information is someone who is a native, someone who is certified, someone who you can follow, someone like that. Was his fear in the beginning, that getting all that information, some of the information might not be actually useful, because he was saying you might get, for example, if you are learning Swahili, because he's learning Swahili, for example, you can get a piece of information. Let's say there's a video he made about not saying certain words in Kenya, words that are used in Tanzania. So for example, if you come to Kenya and you call a friend Shoga instead of Rafiki, maybe you had that name Shoga on the internet, you had someone talking about it, and you know that is a friend, Shoga. And then you come in Kenya and you tell people Shoga. People are going to look at you with strange faces. Shoga, shoga, shoga. Because shoga in Kenya doesn't mean friend. It means LGBTQ. Yeah, it means shoga is a lesbian. Yeah, something like that. So when you come to Kenya, you know you are not supposed to say something like that. But if you're getting information all over, that's one of the challenges that my student told me, since we are in the information age, right? And that's what I got when I went on Google and asked, and Google gave me the results, like where to focus on in language learning. But as I continued learning, I knew where to focus on exactly, and why the books were written the way they were written in high school, like the way we were learning language in high school, why the books were written like that. I came to understand that those people who wrote language books, they were not idiots. They knew what they were doing. Okay? So here we go. The 5 parts, at most 6, that you need to focus on in language learning. We have grammar. Grammar is very, very important. You can differentiate someone who has done grammar and someone who has not done grammar in a certain language. Of course, you can communicate without learning grammar. For example, when you are a child, you could communicate without grammar. You could call your mom, say something, you want this, blah, blah, blah. You could communicate. And as you grow, without even learning grammar, you can communicate. But you need to learn grammar to speak eloquently. To speak like someone who, like, to express your views, your ideas eloquently, like, not like a child. Because when you are a child, you are like direct, blah, blah, blah. But as you learn grammar, you get more extensive ways of saying things. Okay? So grammar is quite important for you to have. That is the number 1 thing. The number 2 thing is reading. Okay, let me sum the number 2 to number 6 to comprehensible input. Stephen Krashen's talks about comprehensible input a lot. And I've come to understand why he talks about comprehensible input a lot. Because it really helps, actually. But you need to have comprehensible input plus grammar, or have someone who will be guiding you. But if you are self-studying, you need to have comprehensible input and you need to have grammar. Okay, so I'll say grammar. Then the second part is comprehensible input, where we have reading. Reading is very, very important for you to have, for you to be able to acquire words. Because they usually say that if you want to acquire words, you can get flashcards, you can write words. I've used those methods before, yeah. They do work, but compared to reading, I will say it's a little bit. They do work, but a little bit, and they give you a lot of stress. But if you are reading, you are going to acquire like the words inside the story. Just read. Even Oli Richards, okay, he supports reading. Reading is a great method. Oli Richards is a polyglot that I really respect with what he says. Like when he talks about a method, I usually go and follow it and see if it can fit in my language learning and if it can fit my personality for me to learn using that method. Because someone who has learned a lot of languages can hold someone who has maybe not learned another new language. Okay, so that's why I believe. So I have Oli Richards, Luca Lampariello, and Stephen Kaufman. I follow those 3 gentlemen. They are really, 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 really amazing. Okay, so reading. And then the third thing is writing. Writing is also quite important because they usually say that writing is the slow way of speaking. Writing is the slow way of speaking. I don't know who introduced that slogan, but it is actually correct. When you write and you go and start speaking, you will find that your speaking will be easier than when you are not writing and you are just speaking. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I have experimented that thing. I do some things called language islands. Language islands, okay, there's a video about that. I think I'll put it up here or somewhere here. I do things on language islands, on languages that I am advanced on. I have done language islands in Spanish, Italian, Filipino, yeah, and I'm still doing language islands because I believe it's a continuous process. Yeah. So in doing language islands, I usually start by writing and then I speak. I say what I have written. I just mentioned the ideas that I have written. But when I start speaking without writing, I find it hard. So that's why writing is a slow way of speaking. It's very important. The other one is now listening. Of course, you are learning a language. To listen to someone, you're not going to talk to yourself. You are going to talk to someone else. So you need to be very efficient in listening. You need to be good at listening. So you need to take practice. You need to have practice to take lessons in listening for you to get better at it each and every time. And the last method is speaking, which I usually use the language islands. Okay, in speaking I use the language islands for me to communicate effectively. As I have told you, you can go and watch the language islands video. I'm going to put it at the end of this video as well. Language islands, for you to go and watch it. Language islands. Yeah. Okay, so we have grammar, reading, grammar, reading, writing, speaking, listening. Okay, we have 5 things: grammar, reading, writing, speaking, listening. 5 things that you need to focus. Now I'm going to tell you from A1 to B2, like which part are you supposed to focus the most in each level. So starting with A1 and A2, you need to start with grammar. Grammar should be your main focus. Okay, grammar should be your main focus, because grammar is going to lay a foundation for you. You need to have a foundation before you start building. If you don't have like a great foundation, your building is going to fall anytime. But if you start with grammar and make a foundation, your building is going to go higher and higher and higher without being shaken. Then the next thing is reading. Read for you to get vocabulary. Get vocabulary, get into the culture by reading. Okay, immerse yourself. The third one is listening. In this early stage, it is important for you to immerse yourself in the listening culture. Start by listening short videos, okay, 2 minutes, 1 minute, and analyze what you are listening. Then the next one is writing. You can start by writing about your day through the things that you have learned. I usually recommend to start writing maybe 4 to 5 months after you have done vocabulary and reading, after you have done grammar and reading, because with writing it will require you to have some input. You cannot start writing without you getting anything. Okay, then you have speaking. You can start speaking small things. By speaking, I don't mean you start doing language islands. Okay, language islands are for B1 there. Yeah, you can start doing language islands there. But here by speaking, I mean, for example, after you have written something on your diary, you can speak that thing out loud, or while you are reading, you can read out loud. So that is actually speaking. Okay, start with that. Then as you go forward, you are going to increase the speed. Now let's go to B1. The most important thing to focus on B1 is reading, for you to acquire extensive vocabulary, or for you to get a lot of vocabulary and a lot of things in that language. Read, get vocabulary, verbs, adverbs, I don't know what, all those things. Go read and you are going to get them. The second thing is listening. You can now advance your listening here. Listen to songs, listen to videos, some videos that native speakers are there, some videos that native speakers are also listening, some movies that you like, listen with some subtitles for you not to get lost. And then continue with your routine of writing. Very important. Then you can start introducing language islands in this section, okay, in this B1. Okay, start speaking by language islands. You can simply start by the first language island, introducing yourself. For example, in Spanish, I started with that easy language island, presentarme. Yo soy Connie, me llamo Connie, soy de Kenia, yo soy una estudiante. Otra tiempo enseño Swahili a mis estudiantes y amo mucho. Okay, so I started talking about myself in Spanish. That was the first language island that I did. And then lastly, grammar. Grammar is little focus for you in this B1. You are only going to do grammar if you have a specific questions from your reading, your writing and everything. So come with a question in grammar. Don't go to grammar and then find a question to come in the immersion. Immerse yourself, come with a question from there. Luca Lampariello taught me that on a YouTube video, and thank you so much for that, Luca Lampariello. God bless you. Then B2, you're going to focus on reading, speaking, listening, writing, and lastly, grammar. Almost like B1, but now you're going to put speaking in front of writing. Okay, so you're going to have reading. After reading, go to speaking. You need to really practice your speaking here to be great at speaking. After speaking, go sharpen your listening skills. Sharpen them and make sure you are understanding everything, almost everything. Okay, and then go to writing. It's not really that important. Writing is not really that important if you're not going to use that language for academic things, but it's important if you want to still continue speaking and so forth. And then lastly, go to grammar, which is a list of our worries. Yeah, so that is all in this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. At the end, I'm going to put the language islands video and a mindset that you need to acquire, or a mindset that you need to have for you to learn a language successfully. Stephen Kaufman talked about this as well. Yeah, so go watch that video and you are going to get a lot of insights, because your mindset plays a crucial role in your life. Okay, I know you have heard that from somewhere, but I'm going to tell you again to remind you. So even in language learning, your mindset has a role, and it is a very, very great role. It might be even 80% or 90%. Okay, so if you get that 80%, the 20% will be very easy for you to understand. So mindset. Thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly subscribe, share, like, and if you want to join the Swahili Kingdom, group, if you are learning Swahili, just join down there and you are going to enjoy together. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!